So there's a lot of elements and variables that can be found in most large-scale projects, but I would say the two variables most prominent in the larger scale projects are the inclusion of a large quantity of stakeholders, not just the typical immediate stakeholders that you would think that are immediately involved with the negotiation of the project, but there's so many other stakeholders that are affected, and we'll get into it with the example that I have. And then what goes along with that, the other variable is conflict. There's always going to be differing needs, differing goals, and like what I said in Activity 1, it's about aligning those goals as best as you can. And the case study of the top 50 global projects that was linked to the activity, the one that stood out for me in particular, just being from the industry, is the Hudson Yards project in New York City, which I had the pleasure of visiting a few weeks ago. And it's one of the more impressive commercial real estate development projects that's happened in recent memory, maybe even in history. And they dealt with those two issues that I mentioned earlier, a ton of different stakeholders, and not just the developers and the bankers and the appraisers and everybody else, but government officials, different watchdog groups, local citizens. And the project, over the course of about 2 decades, different proposals went in and out for different ways that they could develop this one piece of land in Manhattan, one of the few really unconstructed areas of Manhattan. And they finally were able to get a lot of those interests in line over the course of 12 or 13 years, and finally ended up coming up with what it is today, the Hudson Yards, which is a huge mixed-use community with office, retail, a college, public parks, and the second part, like I said, is the conflict. You had different people over the course of these 2 decades that wanted different things. You had Yankees fans and Mets fans that wanted a stadium built there. You had other people that just wanted to become a complete public park. You had other people that wanted it to be developed to the highest and best use available. And like most projects, it was fleshed out over a very, very long period of time, 2 decades. And it finally came to fruition in 2019. And I think if we were to read a little bit more in detail into the case, it would be interesting to see, how they went about aligning a lot of these interests and avoiding conflict to the best of their ability in getting all of these different stakeholders, not just the developers and the bankers, but like I said, the local citizens, the tenants, even, like I said, government officials, lots of different sides that all have different interests that are all in conflict with each other. And so that being said, that's my example, and those are the two variables, a large number of stakeholders and the conflict that comes with it, that I think are prevalent in almost any large-scale project. Thank you.